Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome finally again to our coffee times. I know I've been a little bit missing from social media a little bit and from YouTube. It all has a reason, but I'm here today to bring you my March wrap up.
It's coffee time.
So a couple of things. We have been busy doing some stuff in the house and I'm kind of learning a little bit how to garden because I've never had a garden, and I'm trying now to have plants and not kill them because I always tend to kill them all. And also my PC decided to die on me. RIP to my PC. And I took it to the store to see if it could be repaired, and it can be repaired, but it's going to take longer than I thought, and they need some extra pieces and whatever. So I'm currently still waiting. So we have basically prepared a laptop for emergencies. We've installed the programs that I'm gonna need for editing, so hopefully you'll be seeing this video this week. Anyways, you're here because you want to know what I thought about the books that I read in the month of March, and there are some popular books this month that I read, so I'm really excited to share my thoughts with you. For the most part, I had a really good reading month in the sense that I, for the most part, read things that I enjoyed. I did read a total of 6 things, and we're here to talk about it. If you're new here, welcome to the coffee family. I'm glad you decided to join. And today we're gonna be reading books as always with coffee mugs, starting from the lowest rating to the highest. Let's start talking about Hold My Place by Cassandra Will Walker. So I picked up this one on my Kindle Unlimited subscription because I wanted to read in the month of March all books by female authors, and I had heard about this one. It is a book based really heavily on the events of 2020, on the virus that spread. I don't want to say specific names because you guys know that YouTube blocks videos for no reason, but anyways, this is about a girl that is a librarian. She is called Sigrun, and she meets this charming married man that owns a restaurant, and they kind of engage in a relationship even though he is a married man. So like I said, this is heavily based on the events of 2020 in the sense that there's a lot of mention of, you know, said virus, about lockdowns and things like that. So it is heavy on that topic. It's mentioned a lot. So if you're still sensitive about the whole situation and you're not in the mood to read about it, maybe it's a little bit too soon for a lot of people. I think even for me, even though I don't mind reading those things, I feel like I didn't need it so early on where we're still kind of getting rid of it. But yeah, I had no idea that it was going to involve that. Honestly, when I went into the book, I just thought it was a mystery horror thriller, and the mystery horror part was basically just the very ending, maybe 10-20% of the book. Part of why I was not so engaged with this book was that the characters were a little bit unrelatable for me. They didn't feel real. The whole situation felt a little bit unbelievable, so I was really disconnected with it all. It had nothing to do particularly with the writing, it was just the characters. And I mean, the ending was alright, but I felt like it couldn't redeem everything else, and it was also not a really satisfying ending, which is something hard for mystery thrillers. Yeah, so, you know, nothing against the author, the book, or anything. Please still give it a shot if you wanted to read it. This is just my opinion, and maybe it just didn't work for me. In Goodreads, a lot of other people really enjoyed it, so it's just my opinion. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, but I have been informed that YouTube is going to flag videos and demonetize videos and people that include certain trigger warnings in these videos, which I think is completely unfair because there are certain words that help other people, you know, to hear that a book has those triggers in order to avoid them altogether, since the books are currently not including any trigger warnings in any page at all, so people cannot brace themselves for that. So I'm going to pin a comment down below with the trigger warnings, since I'm not allowed to say them in the video, but I've heard that if I pin them in a comment, it might be okay. So we'll try that. Moving on to the rest of the books that I read this month, and honestly, the rest of the books that I read, I really truly enjoyed. And first, let's talk about A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I really enjoyed this one because it did something that some books try to do and do not manage to, and that is to combine what could be considered a classic vampire story with something a little bit more modern. I felt like it was a really subtle modernization of the vampire lore, and I was there for it. I also love the way this is written. It's kind of written through a diary of one of our main characters, which also of course is a little bit reminiscent of Dracula by Bram Stoker, but her story and the way that she saw things from her perspective, the way that things shift in her mind, her ideas change, the way she sees things change. I really enjoy that because it took me really in a journey with our main character and really made me understand her situation. And I really enjoyed it. So I feel like this book is gonna be great for people both that love a classic vampire story and also for people that are looking for something a little bit fresh and new when it comes to the vampire myth. This is also a book that takes you through different countries and takes you in a big adventure, and it is told from the perspective of Dracula's brides, so you also get a feminine point of view, feminine perspective of the females that used to travel and love and be together and kill together with Dracula. Our main character gets to travel and not just discover other countries, but also discover herself, discover what she has become, and that, you know, not everything in life is as good as others picture it to be. Sometimes being undead can be a blessing, and sometimes it can be a curse. So I really loved all of the different, you know, perspectives that we got to see, because we also get to see a little bit from other characters in the book. So if you're looking for a vampire story that it is kind of a classic but also kind of modern, pick this one up. Next I have The Stepchildren by Stephanie Sparks. You guys know I'm trying to read all of her published works, and this one was another win for me. So far everything I have read by the author I have truly enjoyed. Now this story follows Jamie. When she was a child, her mother was dating a man that was not so kosher, let's put it that way. And Jamie has really bad memories and nightmares associated to this man. Now, in the present time, Jamie goes to this kind of support group of people that have encountered the same guy who just used to trick his way into families, marry the women, and then kill them. So basically, it is kind of like a serial killer support group of the victims of said men. So of course I thought this was really interesting and intriguing to me, since I love true crime stories. I would say this book is more of a thriller slash true crime story than a full-on horror, even though we do get some horror moments in the book. I really love the combination of going to these sessions with the support group characters and also an investigation that is taking place, because the stepfather that was in prison apparently comes back to hunt them. I'm not gonna tell you how, why, when, what happened. You'll have to discover that yourself, but basically the people in the support group now are fearing for their lives. The book was written in a way that it's really keeping you engaged. It is a fast-paced book, and I think it's gonna be perfect for people especially that love 80s and 90s like thrillers, mystery thrillers with a little bit touch of horror. This is not a full-on horror if that's what you are hoping for. And Stephanie Sparks likes to write books from the 70s, 80s. I would say this is more like 80s, 90s. So if you are into that kind of stuff, pick this one up. I am pleased to announce that it is finally time to address my thoughts on The Last House on Needless Street. Now, for everybody that it is worried I'm gonna say something that's gonna spoil the experience, don't be afraid, because I'm not really gonna tell you what the book is really about, what really happens. I'm gonna make it really brief and short and sweet because I don't want anybody to get spoiled. This is basically a story that follows a disappearance, a story that follows a killer, and a story that is being told from different points of view. That's all I'm going to tell you. What I will say is I did not expect this kind of story when I jumped into it, and I absolutely loved it. I think part of why I enjoy this book so much is the writing. The writing, it is fantastic. There are short chapters told from the perspective of different characters. That's something that I really enjoy, and the short chapters made it really quick to read and really like wanting me to know more. It is quite the interesting ride and I was not expecting the resolution slash the ending. Of course, there are some things that might point to the ending, some things that might make you question what's going on, but I have to say it was such a satisfying ending. It is rare to have a mystery thriller that really, you know, catches you off guard, and I think that's also probably part of why so many people really enjoyed it. I'm definitely gonna pick up her next novel that was just published this year. I think it's called Sundial, so I really need to get my hands on that one because I absolutely loved her writing. And these will be perfect for people that love a really good mystery thriller with a great ending, and if you love stories about killers. Now let's talk about Wife by Samantha Kolesnik. I loved true crime, so I was really excited to read her next novella, and honestly, this is so crazy. This is such a weird, horrific tale. I absolutely loved it. This is a story about a frustrated woman in an unhappy marriage, and one day at a store she sees this perfect, picture perfect man that is the man of her dreams, and after that encounter she kind of starts reconsidering her own life, and that takes her to really gruesome paths. And the story, like, I could not believe how messed up it was getting. You know, just Samantha Kolesnik just takes you by the hand through this kind of like regular mystery thriller beginning, and then it just takes you in this adventure to the deepest, most horrifying ends of the world, and you're not ready for it. It really gets gruesome. It gets so uncomfortable, and it is definitely kind of heavy on the body gore side, so if you're not at all into that, avoid this one. But I feel like if you loved her other novella, you're gonna enjoy this one as well. They are very different. I felt like true crime was a very straightforward, disgusting, messed up story, but it was kind of a straightforward story. This one is one that is gonna take you through a roller coaster of emotions. It's gonna slap you on the face. You're not gonna be ready for what's coming next. Definitely not. I was not ready, but I also could not stop reading even if it was getting so disturbing. So yeah, I would say this one is perfect for people that love disturbing stories and do not mind some body gore. And last but definitely not least is my absolute favorite read of the month of March, which is Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Basterrica. And yeah, I absolutely love this book. You already know this, guys, especially if you follow me on Goodreads and you've seen my review. This is a book that has been talked about a lot in the horror YouTube community, and I really wanted to read it, and I'm so glad that I did. It's probably gonna be one of my favorite reads of 2022, and this is a book that is based on a dystopian world in which basically humans are unable to eat animals anymore. There is this virus that spread only through animal flesh, and so basically they decided to kill all the animals, and now they are raising humans as food. They are just raising humans as if they were, you know, farm animals just for consumption. So obviously society had to adapt to this new world order, and now we follow people like Marcos that works in what it's called a processing plant, and that is where they take the humans that have been bred for consumption, and they basically go through the same process that animals do, currently in the farm industry. So it was really interesting to hear the story, especially from the perspective of somebody that works inside of those plants, so that we are able to really see everything that happens in there. And it does kind of give you a perspective from different angles, so it's not just black or white. We are kind of on a gray area here where we are being questioning all the time the things that are being done in the book, you know, if it's ethically correct or not. And it might get a little bit intense for a lot of people, because obviously here they're talking about killing humans for, you know, to turn them into food. So there is some body gore here, so expect to have pretty detailed descriptions of the things that are being done in these plants. Now, you do have to be a little bit in disbelief to accept this book, because there is the mention in the book that since we are no longer able to consume animals, we do need to raise humans in order to get protein to survive, which is not true, because, well, I have been vegan for a lot of years and I have been vegetarian before that, so I haven't had meat in like 12 years maybe, and I don't have a protein deficiency. It doesn't exist. So they could have just been like, okay, we cannot consume animals anymore, so we're just gonna live from crops and plants and things like that, you know, and live a plant-based diet. So this is of course a work of fiction. I don't think that in a real situation we would have to come to this. But as the work of fiction that it is, it did such an amazing job to give us all of these questions, you know, what is right, what is wrong, how far would we go, where do we cross the line, where are we like, okay, this is too much. It is a book that is going to make you question a lot of things. I did appreciate it that the author did not hold back when it comes to describing the things that are being done inside of these you know, plants, and the things that are being done even to the humans before they're being taken there. Basically, the author did what we do nowadays, which is dehumanizing everything and just portraying the humans that are being bred for consumption as mere objects. And I think this book is gonna be good for people that do not mind the horror to be a little bit uncomfortable, because obviously we are talking here about consuming human flesh, which is something that not everybody feels comfortable reading about. It can get really intense, and there is, like I said, some body horror. Alright guys, so this is everything that I read in the month of March. Only 6 books, but most of them were great reads, so I'm really happy. And they were all books by female authors, which was my goal for the month of March. Now in April, I already started reading some books. I didn't get to record a TBR video because, like I said, my PC is dead. But I will tell you about all the things that I am currently reading on my April wrap-up. Fear not. Let me know down below, what have you been reading in the month of March? Have you been reading any horror by female authors? And let me know what is the best thing you read in the month of March. Let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. I'm so sorry that this video is coming out late, but I hope that you still enjoy it, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye.